Good morning, students. Today I am going to discuss the sixth portion of this chapter, the sixth part of this chapter, how blood is circulated to all over our body. So from this chapter already we have made total 5 videos, and in these 5 videos we came to know the nutrition, the what is the significance of nutrition, the photosynthesis, the process of photosynthesis, the significance of photosynthesis in the plant's body, human digestive system, human respiratory system, and the blood components. So today in our sixth part of this video, we are going to discuss how blood is circulated to all over our heart. Before starting the today's class, you must know one thing, that heart actually the main organ in our body by which our whole blood system actually circulated and through our heart. So first you should know, before knowing the how blood is circulated to all over body, you should know one thing, that what is the heart structure. First you have to know what is the heart structure, what is the structural configuration of the heart. So normally the human heart actually a muscular organ. It's divided into 4 chambers. Okay. So in human beings the heart is a muscular organ, and the heart actually divided into 4 parts. The right side, the left side, the upper portion and the lower portion. The right auricles, right ventricle, left auricles and the left ventricles. So what is the meaning of this? First I am showing the picture here. So one heart, our heart actually divided into 4 parts, the upper portion and the lower portion. Okay, the upper portion has the right side and the left side, and the lower portion has 2 sides, the right side and the left side. So you can say easily that our heart has total 4 chambers. The upper portion is called the auricles or the atrium. The lower portion is called the ventricles. Okay, so this auricle is the receiver side and the ventricle is the donator side. What is the meaning of receiver side? That the auricles actually receives blood from all over our body, and ventricles actually donate blood to all over our body. So this is the basic configuration of the human heart. Apart from this, the walls of these chambers, the wall of this heart actually made up of by some special muscles. These kinds of muscles are called the myocardium. Please note this term because this is important for your exam, that these kinds of wall, so the outer wall, the outer covering of the chambers are made up of by special muscles that's called the myocardium. And what is their specialty? That it contracts continuously and rhythmically to distribute the blood to all the body cells. So this is the basic things, that it contracts, this myocardium contracts, these kinds of muscles contracts continuously and rhythmically to distribute the blood to all the body cell. So these kinds of muscles are called the involuntary muscle. What is the meaning of involuntary muscle? Involuntary muscle means that you cannot control these muscles activity. You cannot control these muscles activity. So that's called the involuntary muscles. So apart from this structure, there are some 2 to 3 another configuration is there in the human heart. So there is one membranous structure is there between the right auricles and the left auricles. So this membranous structure is called the interauricular septum. So this membrane actually separates the right auricles and the left auricles. And the same thing is there in the right ventricle and the left ventricle. There is one membranous structure is there between the right ventricle and the left ventricle. That's called the interventricular septum. This septum actually separates the right ventricles and the left ventricles. And another, apart from this, there are 2 valves are there between the left auricle and the left ventricle. That's called the bicuspid valve. What is the main use, what is the main function of this bicuspid valve? Actually these kinds of valve helps to flow the blood from the left auricles to left ventricles. And there is another 3 valves are there between the right auricles and right ventricles. These valves are called the tricuspid valve. and these valves actually helps to flow the blood from right auricles to the right ventricle. So this is the overview of the structural definition of the human heart. And you can ask me one thing, that why there is three valves and why in the left side two valves are there? Because in the right side of the heart has always the high blood pressure than the left side. So that's why there are total three valves are there between the right auricles and the right ventricles. Okay, now I am coming to the point, the next topic, the flow of blood in the human heart. The flow of blood in the human heart. So how blood is circulated to all over our body. So normally the heart has superior and inferior vena cava. So just look at the structure, I am showing the diagram. So superior and inferior vena cava is there in the upper portion in the right side of the heart. Okay, so what is the meaning of the superior and inferior vena cava? In our last class already we have discussed all those things, that the superior and inferior vena cava actually the largest vein in our body. The superior and inferior vena cava is actually the largest vein in our body. So they carry deoxygenated blood from the upper and lower region of the body respectively and supply the deoxygenated blood to the right auricles of the heart. So what is the meaning of this? What is the meaning of that portion? That normally the vein carries the deoxygenated blood. We all know that. Always remember, vein carry deoxygenated blood and artery carries oxygenated blood. But there is one exception. When the pulmonary word is attached with the vein, so that time the pulmonary vein carries the oxygenated blood, and when the pulmonary word attached with the artery, so that time the pulmonary artery carries the deoxygenated blood. Okay, so pulmonary vein, normally vein carries the deoxygenated blood, but pulmonary vein carries the oxygenated blood, and normally artery carries the oxygenated blood, but the pulmonary artery carries the deoxygenated blood. So there is this exception is there in the heart function in our body. So this heart has the superior and inferior vena cava. So they carry deoxygenated blood from the upper and lower regions of the body respectively and supply the deoxygenated blood to the right auricles of the heart. So already I have discussed the auricles is the receiver side. Auricle is the receiver side. So that's why from all over our body the deoxygenated blood enters into the right auricles. Okay. After that the right auricles contracts and passes the deoxygenated blood to the right ventricles through an auricular ventricular aperture. The common term of this thing is the tricuspid valve. Okay. So already we have discussed the tricuspid valve actually helps to flow the blood from the auricles to the ventricles. Okay, so here also the right auricle contracts and passes the deoxygenated blood to the right ventricle through an tricuspid valve. After the blood entering into the right ventricle, this right ventricle contracts and passes the deoxygenated blood to the pulmonary arteries, because normally artery carries the oxygenated blood, but here the pulmonary artery carries the deoxygenated blood. So that's why the deoxygenated blood is there in the right ventricle. So this from the right ventricle the deoxygenated blood actually enters into the pulmonary artery, and this pulmonary artery attached with the lungs, because the pulmonary word comes from the lungs. Okay, so this pulmonary artery is actually pumps it to the lungs where the blood is oxygenated, because from the respiratory system, when we came to know about the respiratory system, that time we got to know that how blood is oxygenated in the lungs area. Okay, so the pulmonary artery carries the deoxygenated blood and enters into the lungs where the blood is oxygenated. Then the pulmonary veins transport the oxygenated blood to the left atrium of the heart. So this is the basic things. This is the basic overview of the lungs. So here the pulmonary vein carries the oxygenated blood. Normally vein carries deoxygenated blood, but pulmonary vein carries the oxygenated blood. There is one exception. So here the pulmonary veins transport the oxygenated blood to the left atrium of the heart. Just look at the structure. So this is the pulmonary arteries. This is the upper portion is the aorta. This pulmonary arteries actually carries the deoxygenated blood to the lungs, and after that through the pulmonary veins the oxygenated blood enters into the left atrium. Just look at the arrow diagram. The red color diagram is the oxygenated, the blue color diagram is the deoxygenated. Always remember, the blue color means the carbon dioxide means in the heart structure, and the red color means the oxygen thing, the oxygenated thing. Okay, so through the pulmonary veins the oxygenated blood enters into the left atrium. Okay, after that the left atrium actually contracts, and through the bicuspid valve, the name of the bicuspid valve is the also the auricular ventricular aperture, the oxygenated blood enters the left ventricle. Okay, so through the bicuspid valve this oxygenated blood enters into the left ventricle from the left auricles. So then the blood passes to the aorta from the left ventricle. Okay, so this is the main thing, that how blood is circulated to all over body. So already you know that this aorta is the largest artery in our body. This aorta is the largest artery in our body. So this blood passes to aorta from the left ventricle, and through the aorta the blood, the oxygenated blood circulate to all over our body. So this is the overview of the blood circulation, because we need oxygenated blood to our body, not the deoxygenated blood. So I am again describing this thing. I am again discussing these things, that our blood, our human heart has total 4 parts. Okay, the upper portion and the lower portion, the right side and the left side. So the upper portion has the left auricle and the right auricle, the lower portion has the right ventricle and the left ventricle. Okay, normally right side carry deoxygenated blood and the left side carry the oxygenated blood. So the right side, first through the superior and inferior vena cava, the deoxygenated blood enters to the right auricles from the all over our body, and after that through the tricuspid valve, this right auricles blood, the deoxygenated blood enters into the right ventricles, and through the pulmonary arteries it directly goes to the lungs, and here the blood is oxygenated from the deoxygenation of the blood. So after that through the pulmonary vein this oxygenated blood enters into the left atrium, and then through the bicuspid valve it goes to the left ventricle. Okay, and through the aorta it goes to all over our body, it circulates to all over our body. So this is the basic overview of the blood circulation to our body. So during the time of your exam, just you have to remember 3 to 4 things. The first thing is the what is our heart structure. Second one is the name of the artery and vein properly. Third one is the which artery carries which blood, oxygenated and deoxygenated. And the last one is the through which vein the blood is enters into the heart, and through which artery the blood is circulated to all over our body. So this is the 3 to 4 things just you have to remember. Next thing is the since the blood goes twice through the heart, it's known as the double circulation. So there is another question may come, that why this is the why our actually the blood circulation is called the double circulation. Why our blood circulation is called the double circulation? So you can write in this way. Okay, so from this portion 2 questions may come. The first question is the how blood is circulated to all over our body through heart, or second question is the why this is called the double circulation. Next thing is the warm blooded animals such as the mammals have this type of blood circulation, like we have double circulation. Okay, so the body temperature of cold blooded animals is the same as that of their surroundings. In hot environment their blood becomes warm, and in colder environment the blood becomes cold. Therefore they do not require energy to maintain their body temperature. Hence cold blooded animals such as the fishes, amphibians and many reptiles can tolerate some amount of mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. So they have 2 to 3 chambers. So I am highlighting this portion that the cold-blooded animals such as the fish, amphibians and some reptiles is also there. I am highlighting this portion. So some cold-blooded animals such as the fish, amphibians and many reptiles can tolerate some amount of mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. So therefore they have 2 to 3 chambers heart also. So they do not have the 4-chambered heart. Always remember, the birds and mammals have the 4-chambered heart. The fish has only 2-chambered heart. Amphibians and reptiles have also 3-chambered heart. So 2-chambered heart of fishes. Okay, so circulatory system of fishes. So this is important for your exam. So the oxygenated blood from the gills does not enter the heart. Okay, so that's why they have only the 2-chamber. It's directly distributed in the entire body. Only the deoxygenated blood enters the auricle and then the ventricle. So they have the mixed blood. They have the, that's why this is called the venous heart. That's why they have the venous heart. Why this is called the venous heart? Because they do not have any separation in their heart structure like us. Like we have the separation, like the interauricular septum, interventricular septum, we have the separation. Our blood does not mix the oxygenation blood and deoxygenated blood, but in the fish body, so their blood is mixed type blood. So that's why this is called the venous blood, and the blood passes through the heart only once during one cycle of passage. So that's why this is called the single circulation. That's why this is called the single circulation. Next thing is the next topic is the blood pressure. Okay, so the doctor measured his blood pressure using the sphygmomanometer. So during the time of your exam, just remember this term. This is one machine through which we can measure our blood pressure. Okay, so the doctor actually released the air by opening the air valve and carefully observed the pressure, and our normal blood pressure is 120/80. Our normal blood pressure is 120/80. Next is the some explanation of the activity. Okay, so during the time of measuring the blood pressure, when the sphygmomanometer actually inflated, the major artery of the arm collapses and this makes us feel uncomfortable. Okay, so then when air is slowly released, a sound is heard using the stethoscope. This sound is called the systolic blood pressure. This sound is called the systolic blood pressure, and it's a measure of the blood inside the artery during the contraction of the ventricles of the heart. When no sound is there at any longer, it's the diastolic blood pressure. It's the diastolic blood pressure. So the diastolic pressure is the pressure when the blood inside the artery during the relaxation of the ventricle. So always remember, the systolic blood pressure is the when the ventricle contracts, and the diastolic blood pressure is the when the ventricle relax. The normal systolic pressure, I am highlighting this portion because this is important. The normal systolic pressure is about 120 mm of Hg and the normal diastolic pressure is 80 mm of Hg. So our normal blood pressure is 120/80. Okay. So some interesting facts are also there. Do you know that the pressure created by the human heart to pump the blood is enough to eject the blood up to a distance of around 30 feet? So this is one interesting fact. And the another interesting fact that the aorta is the largest artery in our body. So already we have discussed in our previous video that the aorta is the largest artery in the human body. This is important for your 1 mark question. The last topic for today, that the lymphatic system. The last topic for today is the lymphatic system. So in our last video already we have discussed there is two system is there for circulation in our body. One is the circulatory system, another one is the lymphatic system. So what is the meaning of the lymphatic system? That the lymph is another fluid connective tissue which helps in the process of transportation. Okay, and in addition to the blood vessels, the body contains the lymphatic vessels. So some pores are present in the walls of the capillaries through the pores, so through which the circulation process takes place in our body. So this forms the tissue fluid or the lymph. So I am underlining this thing. This tissue fluid or this forms the tissue fluid or lymph. So it's a colorless fluid that contains the less protein. The lymph enters into the tiny vessels around the intercellular space. Just look at the structure. Just look at the structure. So this is the wall of the lymphatic capillaries. Next is the opening into the lymph vessels. Third one is the intracellular fluid, and the last one is the cell. So this is the important thing, that what is the function of the lymph. What is the function of the lymph? So you have to remember 3 to 4 points of this function of the lymph for your 3 marks or 2 marks question. So actually it acts as the reservoir of the water, salts and digested foods. Okay, so this is actually the reservatory substance. So this is actually the reservatory substance. Second one, it carries the digested food and fats from the small intestine, and it contains the phagocytes that can engulf and destroy the bacteria and other foreign particles. So this actually serves as actually our protecting substance, protecting thing in our body. Okay, so this is our today's class. So there is another question, is that what do you know that what causes a heart attack? This heart attack actually the quite familiar term for all of you, that the high blood pressure, smoking, consuming fast food, junk food. So through with high cholesterol, being overweight, obesity are some causes that can result in the heart attack. Okay, so most heart attacks are caused when blood vessels that bring blood and oxygen to the heart muscles are blocked. Okay, so you have to actually conscious about all those matters. So this is our today's class. Today already we have discussed. So from today's class what we came to know, the first thing is the flow of the human heart, the human structure, how blood is circulated to all over our body, the fish heart structure. Third one is the blood pressure, what is the measuring instrument of the blood pressure, explanation of the activity of this blood pressure and the lymphatic system and the function of the lymphatic system. In our next class we will discuss about our kidney system. So till then, goodbye and thank you.